Hello and welcome to my channel, Teresa's Crafty Cabana. I'm going to be doing some fun prints today that end up almost looking like a solar system magic sky type thing. So what I started out with was my 8x10 gel plate, and I took some tissue paper, I just squished it up, twisted it, and crunched it. I wanted to get some lines in my crumpled paper look so that I had a little more texture in this. So that's going to be one of my textures. I'm using some Mars Black. This is a really opaque black paint. And I recently picked up some new brayers. It's a set of 3 brayers, a 2-inch, a 4-inch, and an 8-inch. This is the 8-inch, and wow, is this thing great for the 8x10 gel plate. I had to get used to it because I only usually put my paint in one spot, but I was able to completely fill up my entire plate in just a few passes. So this is a great, nice size for me for my larger gel plate. Here I've got my tissue paper that has some of the crumpled up lines in it, and I'm just kind of pressing it down to get a lot of texture on that black. This tissue paper, it's just tissue paper from Dollar Tree, so the paint does seep through. I was getting some paint on my hands, but you could always put a paper over the top. I just love how the texture comes out with this paper. I wanted to add a little bit more texture. I love the look of the dots on a paper towel, and the paper towels I have out right now had this really cool, almost like a curvy pillow look to it, so I decided to use that to get a little bit more texture on this tissue paper background. Then I let this dry completely before I go in with this next layer of Iridescent Gold by Master's Touch. And then I'm coming in with a stencil that I got recently from Eddie. Eddie Makes Art, and this is one of the Flores Geometricas stencils. I'm using some regular copy paper. Actually, this is the 32-pound hammer mill copy paper. It's a really nice quality of paper that has like a nice soft finish to it. So I used that to pull up the floral design in between the stencil, and then I removed the stencil and let this layer dry. Once it was dry, I came in with some of my golden fluid acrylics. I've got the magenta, the ultramarine violet, and a teal. This little brayer, this is my 2-inch brayer, and you might notice it has a new look to it. I tried to clean my brayers, and I got some Murphy oil for the first time, finally. And as I was cleaning my brayers, the paint was coming off. I just started using a little razor blade to help get it started, and it slipped. I ended up cutting myself a little bit, and I cut into the actual brayer. So I decided, you know what, let's just go with it. So, and I had just gotten my set of new brayers in, so I knew I had another 2-inch brayer. So I went ahead, and while the rubber was still soft from the Murphy's oil, I just kind of cut out little funky looking circles, and so it's giving this neat texture on my gel plate. So I kind of like it. I know I sort of ruined my brayer, but I figure over time my paint will probably fill in a lot of those holes, and it'll probably be okay. But I do like the texture that I get from this. So that's what happened to my little brayer here. This is a to-go container from a takeout, like a Chinese food takeout from the grocery store. And I think it had like little dumplings in it or something. And I washed it, and I thought that these little cups looked like leaf shapes, especially since when you press into them, it only takes like the veining part of it. I definitely think that looks cool. Plus I could flip it over, and on the top part, there's like a rounded frame, like a rectangle round frame. And I think that would make a cool texture as well. Now, if you like these colors, the teal, the purple, the fuchsia, magenta. These are actually colors from the January color combo. Be sure to stop by the Makers of Mixed Media Art and Artists page. I'll put the link in the description. Great bunch of people, crafty people, artsy people, and every month there's a new color combo. This happens to be the one for January 2025, and there's hashtag that you can follow that shows everybody using that color combo. So it's a really great way to come up with a color if you're having a hard time figuring out which colors to use. It's a good way to get you started. I end up using white on the background of this one. I really wanted the veining to show through from the to-go container thing. And I do let this one set for probably about 5 minutes before I peel it away. I love the colors. These colors go so well together, and you can see the pop of the white in the background, but then when I tilt it, that's when you can see the Floras Geometricas stencil design with the gold and the black inside that texture there. So this one's really neat because in one way it looks different than when you tilt it the other way. Kind of going with the same color combo, I'm putting my black down first again. I think if I did this again, I would probably do a lighter amount of paint. Going back in with my little brayer here, and I've got these little cutouts. These were just pieces of cardstock, and I had a hole punch, and I just kind of punched out circles to create like a little design. And I'm using my funky brayer with the little circles in it to kind of remove some of that paint. So this is where the paint was a little bit too thick, and it just wasn't removing very easily because it was still too wet. I'm just going to do that in a few different areas of the gel plate. Just kind of take my little brayer, get some texture in the circles, and I have different sizes that I cut out. Smaller circles, medium ones, and even a couple of large circles. You can see on the top of this little stencil thing that I made the little circles from the black paint, and it really does make a cool texture. So I think I would try working with this little brayer with a lighter amount of paint on my gel plate. This is just some drywall tape to add a little bit of texture behind some of those circles. I'll add more of this little leaf shape. And then I'll add texture with my paper towel again. I wanted to remove a little more of the black because I wanted whatever color I put behind it to show through a little bit better. So I just went in now that the paint was drying a little bit, and I did the same thing, removing some of the paint from those circles. I have a fork. This is just a to-go fork. Are you sensing a theme here? To-go container, fork. This makes a cool texture because the fork has the 4 prongs, but also the prongs are not completely even. They have like an angle to them. and you can kind of roll it to make it go back even a little bit further. So this one was pretty neat to make some fun textures in the black paint. Once I was happy with that, I let it dry, and then I brought in my colors, all 3 colors again. I think these colors look so neat together because that blue, the teal color, is an opaque color compared to the purple and the pink color. I think they go really well together. Now I wanted to try using my lunar paste on my gel plate. This probably wasn't the best layer to add my lunar paste because I'm adding it really to the back. I did have some openings where you could see the gel plate, so I figured some of it should be able to show through to the other side. But as it is, it looks really cool, so I will have to try this on the front of a gel print next time. But after I add this little design, I do let the silver dry. That's silver lining lunar paste, and then I put my gold behind that. I'll let that sit for quite a while, probably about 10 minutes on this one. Now that lunar paste, it did leave some of the design behind on the plate, but as you tilt the gel print, I can see here the little areas where that stencil design was for the lunar paste, because it does leave a little bit of texture in the paint. So I thought that was very interesting, and it looked pretty neat too. Couldn't really tell the silver from it, but you could tell that texture. So these are my 3 prints that I got today. I think these prints look magical. I have the layering of the gold and black with all the colors in the background on this first print here, and then you have more of a black standout design of the other one, and with the gold and the silver in the background, it just kind of looks like magic sparkles. And of course I loved that the simplicity of the golden black floral design on the white, so I left that one as is just because I figured that one would go great if I make a card. I always like having a neutral element, so I think that, or having a neutral element for an envelope to put a card in. So these are the 3 prints that I came out with, and again, I'm loving this stencil that I got that Eddie designed, and all the different ways that I can create layers on the jelly plate. So let me know what you think. Did you like these designs? And have you ever used lunar paste on your gel plate? Let me know in the comments. Alright, thanks for watching. Happy crafting, y'all.